If you grew up watching Glamour Girls, you know it wasn't just a movie, it was a whole vibe, the fashion, the drama, the scandal, the unforgettable one-liners. It had us hooked. Gave us a peek into the glossy and gritty lives of high society women chasing power in a man's world. But what happened after the movie? Let's look back at the cast of Glamour Girls and where they are now. At number 18, we have Benson. If you watched Glamour Girls back in the day, chances are she was the one that left you wide-eyed with her grace mystery and that unforgettable stare that felt like she saw you through TV screen into your soul. Played Jane, the senior girl with a perfect blend of elegance and edge. Jane wasn't just a beautiful woman floating through the society party. She layered. She had pain, she had power, she had presence. You could feel the quiet storm behind her poise, and that was all. Benson didn't just appear from nowhere in Glamour Girls. Long before that, she was already flexing her acting chops on the popular TV show Fortunes, where she played Agnes Johnson. That was the defining TV experience in the early 90s in Nigeria. It was Glamour Girls that really turned her into a screen goddess, and she didn't disappoint. But when we thought she was gonna keep dominating the Nollywood forever, she did something unexpected. She took a step back. Life hit hard for her. She lost her first husband, Samuel. It really shook her to the core. She disappeared from the public eye for a while, and when she came back, she was transformed. She was born again. She's focused, spiritually grounded. She left behind the glitz of the movie industry for a time and went into full evangelism with her second husband, Bishop Grace Imaya. Together, they started the Freedom Family Assemble, where Liz left the camera into preaching in church, mentoring and calling, far away from the bright lights. As you know, for every artist, you can't keep the craft buried forever. Slowly, Benson came back into Nollywood, but this time she was very selective of the roles she took. She stayed away from the seductive role and only picked movie roles that reflected her true calling. Fans were buzzing again in 2024 when they saw her on a set of Mother's Son with a new emerging career. It was wild to think about it. She went from Glamour Girls to becoming a spiritual leader and now circled back to Nollywood as a Nollywood elder stateswoman. Up next, at 17, we have Jennifer Okere. If you don't remember her, it's because her time with us was tragically short, but make no mistake, Jennifer burned bright in Glamour Girls. She played Sandra, one of the younger, more naive women trying to make it in the dangerous waters of Lagos high society. Sandra was ambitious but also soft-hearted, and Jennifer played with the kind of vulnerability that made your heart ache. Jennifer was a Nollywood beauty, soft eyes, gentle smile, but she was also fierce in a way that don't scream at you. The posture, the eyes, the slight tilt of the head when a character betrayed her. She could feel the quiet rebellion simmering under the surface. That role in Glamour Girls was iconic for many reasons, most of all because Jennifer got it right. Jennifer was not a one-film wonder. She starred in Living in Bondage, the 1992 heist that basically launched Nollywood. That film was a blueprint. Jennifer was there from the very beginning, laying the foundation. But just as she was really getting her momentum, the unthinkable happened. She passed away in 1999. The loss sent shockwaves through the industry. She was only 30. Number 16, we have Gloria Young. She played Doris in The Glamour Girls. And if you remember Doris, then remember that unforgettable blend of sarcasm, survival instincts, and street smarts. She was the energy sister of the group, wise, protective, and never caught sleeping. But Gloria didn't even start her career as an actress. She was out there writing columns and chasing news stories as a journalist. She worked with the Daily Times as an energy correspondent. She pivoted into acting in the early 90s, and Glamour Girls was her launch pad. After the Glamour, Gloria stayed in the game, unlike many of her peers who disappeared for a while. She remained consistent, whether it was motherly roles, business tycoons, or true tough love aunties roles. Gloria gave her all. She acted in 17 movies and counting, and it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. One thing that has always made Gloria stand out is her honesty. She has been very open about her struggles with childlessness. For 7 years, she and her husband, Young, who is also an actor, tried to start a family. During that time, she faced pressure from all sides, family, society, and even fans, but she didn't fold. She's spoken publicly about the pain, the praise, the pressure, and how love had, made her stay true. And this has made people even respect her even more. Fast forward to the recent years, Gloria showed up strong again in the hit streaming series DJ. In 2022, fans were very happy to see that she still got it. Gloria Young is a blueprint for longevity. She came in strong, she stayed relevant, and never lost her voice along the way. At number 15, we have Ngozi Ezeonu. If there was someone who has embodied motherly roles, it's her. Before she became the queen of motherly roles, she was Telma in Glamour Girls, character dripping with elegance, mystery, and subtle rebellion. Telma wasn't the loudest in the room, but she commanded attention just by existing. Her path into Nollywood wasn't the usual route. She studied journalism at the Nigerian Institute of Journalism and worked with Radio FM Lagos and Echo FM before trading newsroom for the film set. The big break was in 1993 with Nneka the Pretty Serpent, where she played Kachi, but it was Glamour Girls the next year that really carved her name in the Nollywood marble. From then, she leaned into what became her signature, the noble, firm, emotionally intelligent mother. She took what would have become a flat stereotype and turned into something regal. She had acted in over 200 films. The years of the screen, she has had her own life chapters. She was married to Edwin Ezeonu and had 4 children. But like the spotlight, her personal life has its own turns and twists. And she later received the title Adife, which means daughter of light. She literally being that for the Nollywood, a beacon, a standard of light. And while other actresses faded with time, Ngozi adapted into the modern Nollywood wave, Netflix digital films, web series, and kept her crown in place the entire way. As of 2025, she's not just a legacy figure, she's still working, still acting, still the matriarch of the new era. At number 42, we have Barbara Odo. Her role as Helen wasn't just a character, she was a sharp blade in silk gloves. Helen, a high escort chasing affluence, didn't play by anyone's rule but her own. She seduced, deceived, and blackmailed her way through Lagos, the Candice elite, with a cold eye precision. She always confronts a client who refuses to pay, twisting the scenario into a criminal accusation, weaponizing gender power and status in one sleek move. It was daring and complex and spoke larger truth about survival in a world that rewarded appearance over integrity. And yet, after such a strong performance in one of Nollywood's landmark films, Barbara Odo acted in some movies in the late 90s and early 2000s before going off the spotlight. Today, she's an evangelist and a business consultant. In some ways, her life mirrors the story she portrayed: bright lights, brief fame, and then silence. Whether it was a personal choice or lack of opportunity in a growing but male-dominated industry, Barbara Odo remains one of Nollywood's most mysterious one-hit wonders. Number 13, we have Zack Audie. He brought the necessary coolness and seriousness to Glamour Girls. As Fred, he was the type of man who knew everyone, attended all the right parties, and said little. But when he spoke, it mattered. He was endeared to the world of rich men's game and beautiful women's ambitions, a counterbalance to the feminine force driving the movie. Fred symbolized the enabling arm of patriarchy, sometimes complicit, sometimes caught in the whirlwind. But Audie's legacy doesn't stop there. Far from it. After Glamour Girls, he morphed into the Nollywood's most prolific, respected actors. He starred in over 250 films, including the iconic Blood Money in 1997. He wasn't just one pretty face in a poster either. He began directing, making waves behind the scenes. Then he became a second act, even more promising than the screen performance. Ministry. He became a born-again Christian and eventually became a pastor, taking his charismatic from film set to pulpit. Unlike some who abandoned their bars, Zack balanced both lives. He preached while still acting, and even became an advocate for people with disabilities. He served as president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria. He was politically vocal and notably backing Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023 elections. And as of 2025, he remains active in acting, in philanthropy, and religious services, living in Nigeria with his wife Ngozi and their 3 children. Orji is a proof that glamour doesn't end, it just evolves. At number 12, we have Eucharia and Anunobi. In Glamour Girls, Eucharia and Anunobi played Anita and delivered a character who straddled her sensuality and sharp intelligence. She didn't whisper her ambition, she wore it like a perfume. Every line from Anita felt calculated and electric. giving audiences a character who both rebelled against and reigned within the expectations of Nigerian womanhood in the 90s. And Eucharia Anunobi didn't stop. Her post-Glamour Girls career was expensive, intense, and profoundly human. She starred in more than 90 films, including the sequels like Glamour Girls 2, thrillers like Abuja Connections, and emotional gems like Letters to a Stranger. Her acting style evolved but always held that edge, that vibe. Then in 2012, in another bold twist, she became a pastor, not just in name but in action sermons, conferences, and spiritual counseling. This pivot wasn't just an exit from Nollywood but a dual calling. Alongside her ministry, she earned a PhD in Christian education and ministerial arts in 2021 and continued to act alongside other Nollywood greats. Tragedy shadowed her in 2017 when her only child Raymond passed away at 15 years old due to sickle cell disease. This loss nearly shattered her. Her marriage ended in divorce, and she has spoken candidly about her emotional trauma and healing. She has emerged as a pillar of strength, offering advice on relationships, self-worth, and spiritual resilience. As of 2025, Eucharia is back on screen, behind the pulpit, and perhaps most importantly, still herself, bold, brilliant, and unbroken. At number 11, we have Tinia Amuzia. She played Jessica, confident, calculating, and streetwise character. She's one of the film's troublemakers, shaking tables in elite circles, forcing confrontations, and demanding space. After Glamour Girls, Tina appeared in some major productions again from the late 90s through 2000s and 10s. She acted in movies like Dangerous Sisters alongside Genevieve Nnaji, Tony Umays, and other notable names. But after the mid-2010s, she drifted from the Nollywood scene and appeared in lesser roles. Up next at number 10, we have Clarion Chukura. She played Vera in Glamour Girls, anchoring every scene she appeared in, poised, razor-sharp, and deeply intuitive. Her character seemed to rise above the chaos while still being dangerously close to it. In a film overflowing with bold appearances, bold performances, Clarion felt rooted in something deeper. Experience, that's no surprise. By the time she appeared in Glamour Girls, she was already a veteran. A breakout role in Mirror in the Sun back in the 80s made her a household name. And she went on to become the first Nigerian actress to win the Best Actress in West Parker in 1982. Her life beyond the film is equally layered. She's been a UN Peace Ambassador, a tireless humanitarian, and a vocal advocate for African social development. She has starred in films across the decades and stayed deeply involved in advocacy work. In her personal life, she has had her own share of reinvention. She is mother to music video director Clarence Peters, wife to Anthony Boyd, which is her third marriage. And as of 2016, a convert to Jehovah's Witness. Her public statements today often lead towards faith, peace, and legacy. Still active as of 2025, Clarion continues to appear in production and remains one of few Nollywood pioneers who has kept a strong, unshaken presence over 4 decades. She's quite literally royalty in a house that Glamour Girls helped to build. At number 9, we have Dolly Onachu. Her portrayal of Maureen in Glamour Girls 2 is still one of the most heartedly cold characters in Nollywood's early years. Maureen wasn't just a villain, she was an architect of destruction, wrapped in designer clothes, oozing fake charm as she ran a sex trafficking ring under the guise of a receipt job placement, manipulating young women and conning their families with heartless precision. And Dolly didn't flinch once. She carried the role with this stone cold charm, as if Maureen's soul had already died long before the film began. You couldn't look away, but what's wild is that long before she scared us as Maureen, Dolly had already secured her place in Nigerian entertainment world. Back in the 80s, she was part of the Mirror in the Sun, a landmark Nigerian soap opera that came fortunes in 1993, where she played Fadike, another iconic character who showed her range. Dolly was one of the earliest actresses in Nigeria who genuinely felt international. Even back then, after Glamour Girls, she pivoted a little bit. In 1997, she made Wilder's Dream, a semi-autobiographical film that opened the door into her personal life, her first failed marriage, and all the trauma that came with it. It was bold and raw, a step that not many would take, especially in an era when public vulnerability wasn't fashionable. Then came the twist. Dolly packed up and moved to the UK for marriage number 2, but that didn't work out either. The marriage barely lasted and she found herself restarting life in a new country. But Dolly, even the survivor, chose growth. She enrolled at the University of East London and by 2008 she bagged a degree in film,
and while in the UK, she kept working on indie projects. The Empire in 2005, Sisters Love in 2008, and even a 2022 piece called Private Martyrs. Not the kind of mainstream returns fans dreamed of, but it showed that she still had that creative flame. In 2016, she married for the third time, this time to a pastor, Dr. Olaniyan. These days, she goes by the name Dolly Onachu Olaniyan. Even though she divorced again, she lives in London, still raising her kids, still carrying that balance between motherhood and storytelling. She hasn't fully returned to Nollywood, but she talks openly about it. At number 8, we have Remy Abola. She played one of the original party girls in Glamour Girls, and while the role was relatively brief, her presence was magnetic. She had that blend of older sister sass and sultry charisma. The kind that told you she wasn't new to this life. Her scenes may not have dominated the screen time, but they added flavor, a reminder that the nightlife in the Glamour Girls world was as layered as it was dangerous. Remy's story outside the screen is even more compelling. Born in 1952, she was originally a flight attendant, a classy jet-setting woman before glamour even became a word to flaunt in Nollywood. She later trained in dramatic arts in the UK. She brought her polish into her acting. Her performances always carried a subtle refinement. She acted in several significant films in the 2000s, including Oduduwa, The Narrow Path, and Aruba. These were not your average films. They were often rooted in Yoruba traditions, cultural themes, and social commentary. She worked alongside legends and never once seemed out of place. She wasn't flashy, she was solid, dependable, the kind of actress whose roles might not even scream for attention, but linger with you longer than you expect. Remy was also the wife of Moshood Abiola, a prominent businessman and political figure, adding another layer of complexity to her public life. Sadly, in 2009, she passed away from cancer in New York at 57. Her death came as a quiet heartbreak in Nollywood circles. At number 7, we have Telma Umiu. She played the role of Laura, one of the young girls who was recruited to become a call girl. Laura didn't have the most screen time, but in every scene she appeared, she radiated the composure of someone who has seen things. A woman surviving, adapting, and profiting of the transactional realities of our world. The character may have been soft-spoken, but there was still behind her eyes. Off-screen, Telma Umiu was just getting started. Born Telma Umiu. She was far more than a pretty face in a bold 90s wardrobe. She holds a BA in theatre arts from the University of Port Harcourt, majoring in film directing, a fact that often surprises fans who assume she came in purely as an actress. She also took formal diplomas in acting and voiceover, which helped her pivot into multiple entertainment roles. Over the years after Glamour Girls, she continued her run in the 1996 sequel and expanded her resume to include dozens of TV series, soap operas, and films of 2020. She has chalked up over 26 years in the industry, a rare feat in the recent years. She has been seen in the period telenovela Rihanna and in 2023 drama Love Like That, which introduced her to the new generation of fans. These days, she's not only an actress but also a model, voiceover artist, motivational speaker, and a devoted Christian and a mother. At number 6, we have Rayma Johnson. He played one of the film's most infuriating characters, Alex, the silk presidential aspirant who lured Jane, played by Benson, into luxurious trap with all his charm and big promises. Alex seemed like the dream man until the mask slipped and he revealed a cold, calculating con man. His betrayal not only crushed Jane emotionally but served as one of the film's most cautionary acts. But while Alex made a lasting impression in the film, Rayma Johnson's own trial seems to have gone cold, unlike many of his co-stars. He didn't keep a long-standing public presence in Nollywood. His name rarely surfaces in interviews, retrospectives, or major media coverage. He worked in ways that kept him out of the spotlight. Whatever the case, his on-screen legacy remains one of Nollywood's earliest, most memorable deceivers. At number 5, we have Shola Fosudo. He played Desmond. He was the safe but the wealthy fiancé of Jane. Desmond represented stability, that is until life came for him hard. A tragic accident left him paralyzed and unemployed, unraveling everything he had built. Jane, under pressure, made desperate choices and their relationship spiraled into heartbreak. Shola Fosudo portrayed Desmond with understated elegance and quiet strength and is a veteran of the Nigerian stage and screen even after Glamour Girls. Shola was already respected in academic and dramatic circles post-film. He stayed mostly within television and stage-based performances, especially in Urdu language production, and occasionally featured in English language dramas. Faju has acted in many notable films in the course of his very long career. He's known for choosing roles that are intellectually grounded and socially relevant, which may be why he never became a celebrity in the tabloid scenes, but usually remained respected in arts community. In later years, he balanced acting with academia. He is known to have taught in Lagos State University, where he became a respected lecturer and eventually a professor. Not every Nollywood star ends up with a tenure track, but then again, not every actor is Shola. At number 5, we have JT Tom West. He didn't need a full hour of screen time to leave a mark. His role as a smooth, well-dressed software engineer who picks up Helen, played by Barbara Odo, in a high-end hotel lobby was a brief but electric. His performances felt lifted out of romance novel. Their whirlwind fling with all the pretty woman energy was one of the few hopeful romantic arcs in the movie, a movie filled with double crosses and shattered dreams. JT Tom West had more to offer than good looks and screen charm, a favorite in action-packed Nollywood films of the late 90s and early 2000s. He often played tough guys, playboys or gangsters, but beyond that, he had the gentleness that made him a favorite among female fans and a surprisingly versatility that made him trusted by directors. Tragically, his life was cut short in 2006. JT Tom West died in a car accident following a movie shoot. This news sent shockwaves through the Nollywood community. He was just 41. The exact details remain somewhat murky, but it's widely believed that a combination of road fatigue and inadequate emergency care played a role. At number 3, we have Peter Bruno. He played Siri. He was a symbol of fading power in Glamour Girls, a rich banker who swept Sandra off her feet with luxury and promises. He quickly found himself edged out by the younger, but more charming Dennis. His character arc spoke to the fleeting nature of wealth and desirability, especially in a city like Lagos. Peter Bruno was a familiar face in early Nollywood. His refined looks and controlled delivery made him a go-to actor for authority figures and high-class roles by Glamour Girls. Though Peter Bruno's presence dwindled, he faced health challenges in later life, including a reported stroke, which made it difficult for him to continue acting. Tragically, he passed away in 2015. He was 60. In his final years, he voiced frustration with the Nigerian film industry, which he felt had forgotten its veterans. That bitterness was echoed by many early Nollywood stars who helped him build the industry, but received little institutional support as they aged. At number 2, we have Atta. He played Dennis, who was an ambitious, younger, hungrier, and emotionally available Dennis. Dennis, the man who eventually won Sandra's heart, proved that love isn't just luxury, had a place in the Glamour Girls world. Atta good looks and vulnerable intensity make him a breakout star. He rode that way for years. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Atta was one of the Nollywood's most in-demand romantic leads. Women adored him, men admired him, and his roles always seemed to straddle charm and sincerity. But in 2005, he made a surprising move. He left Nigeria and relocated to Germany. The decision was personal, spiritual, and little mysterious. While in Germany, he reportedly explored music and photography and lived a quieter and more reflective life. He returned to Nigeria occasionally and eventually re-engaged with the industry. In recent years, he has taken one of the film roles and spoken publicly about his journey, faith, and reasons for leaving the spotlight. But Atta may have stepped away, but he never truly disappeared. At number 1, we have Ekpenyong. He played Helen's older brother in Glamour Girls, the voice of reason in a movie filled with chaos. His short scene was enough to ground the film in family dynamics and reminded viewers that some characters still live within moral compass. Like many of his co-stars, KP never stopped working, a consummate professional, as he remained a fixture in Nollywood, from classic home videos to modern streaming era blockbusters. Some of his highlights include 93 Days, Hire a Man, and the stylish rebots, Neka the Pretty Serpent. He played a significant role in Blood Sisters in 2022, a Netflix production that introduced to Gen Z's audiences, and appeared in King of Boys, The Return of the King as well in 2023 and 2024. He continued his streak with appearances in Dennis Big and the biopic Familiar Ransom Kuti. In recognition of his immense contributions, he received Lifetime Achievement Awards from both the Actors Guild of Nigeria and City People's Award. KP is now in his 60s and remains one of Nollywood's most respected elder statesmen.